Elenee, first, congratulations right off the top. There's a big reason why we're talking. And as we speak, it's just a couple of days away where you're going to be part of Canada's biggest music night. Why are you involved in this?
Oh man, I mean, this is something that every artist I think really dreams of, just getting the opportunity to make something that kind of comes from a really beautiful place within us and then put it out there and then people like it enough that the right people like it and then all of a sudden all these jury people put it through to a round of nominations. I mean, I'm not mad about it. It's super cool.
I'm sorry, you just said nominations. Nomination for what, please?
The Junos.
That's what I was waiting to hear. Congratulations on that. Now, you're in the Christian and gospel category for what is it? Best album, correct?
Yes, you bet.
I saw on your Instagram you sitting there with a gentleman next to you waiting for the. Can you talk about that moment waiting for that announcement? Who was the gentleman next to you?
Gentleman is my husband, and I made him stay home from work that morning because I was like, I am not going to be rejected or disappointed by myself. I was fully prepared to not get nominated for a Juno. So I set up the camera tripod, I got on the couch, and I put the camera up because I wanted my followers and people that have, rocked with me for a while, they know my space is pretty real. And so I was like, I'm going to prepare a video and I have all the caption. It's basically like, watch me not get nominated for a Juno. Watch me be disappointed. And the goal, honestly, no cap, the goal was for me to be able to show fans and followers alike how to be disappointed, but also to just keep doing music, not let something like that get you down. And did I ever see my name on the top of the list? And I freaked out. I like my brain, my body, everything just rebooted. It was crazy. My husband, who he is pretty just stable, he doesn't show a ton of emotion. He was like, nice. That was all he did. It was wild. So super cool.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because was this your first album?
This was my first album.
Insane.
I
So let
know.
me get this straight. Your first album that's released in 2024 gets a Juno nomination in 2025.
Yes, correct. It's so cool. So cool.
Well, let's talk about the album. Let's jump right into it. What's the album called, and how did it represent you when you were working on this and releasing this? Are we talking original music? What was going on with this?
Yeah, so it's actually self-titled. I really wanted to call it something that made sense, which maybe every artist should maybe do that, maybe not, I don't know. And I just didn't want to call it something super abstract. I didn't want to name it after the title of a song on there because none of it really felt like it belonged as the title. And the reason I went with my name, the album is literally just called Elenee, period. And the reason I did that was because the last couple of years, maybe the last 3 years, has been the whole process of recording this album. I have endured a ton of healing and also, just ups and downs alike. And from that, I feel like I was able to write a lot of these songs. So it's all original, and every single song represents a certain level of healing that I've, just gone through over the last little while. Some of it's really sassy and up and just kind of like in your face. Some of it is really, really kind of reflective and internal. And so the album is on this wild spectrum of like dance, roll up down the windows, turn up the music, and just let your hair down and just go for it. And some of it is like you are crying. So I also felt like that spectrum is very true to who I am as a creative. Like literally one day I'm making like synth pop, the next day, producing like these really cool sad pop and nostalgic, like quiet whisper voice vocals. And so a lot of it as a whole really just speaks to who I am, which is why I went ahead and just named it Elenee with a period.
One of the things I've always told people, and it's funny because I played songs before from other artists who are in the same category as you, and I would play the songs, and people would hear it and they go, "Yeah, I love it, whatever." And I'd say, "You realize that's a gospel song?" They have no idea. It's weird how people still, and nothing wrong with it, but people still, when they think of Christian and gospel music, they still think of the old
Yeah.
tradition, and they don't realize that there are a lot of songs that they're listening to, jamming onto, and they have no idea it's
Yeah.
gospel and Christian.
Totally. I think that's kind of the best kind of music where it's not really, the theme isn't always just in your face. You have to sort of listen between the lines, is what I
Yeah.
say. And I feel like that really makes artistry sort of set apart nowadays. You can make music that's really in your face and really obvious, but I think that listeners crave that deeper connection to a song or to a sonic sound overall, which is what I love about this album. It is pretty thematically Christian, but the sonicness of it feels very mainstream. And I don't know, it felt very true, I guess, to who I am also as a producer. It was cool.
Now, I don't want to go too deep into what you were talking about earlier about the things that you're going through, but can you just give me a roundabout example? And the only reason why I say that is because, especially, going through COVID,
Mm,
after COVID, and then dealing with the world that we're dealing with today. A
yeah.
lot of people are going through a lot of things. Can you talk a little bit about even just the feelings and what you were going through that got you to this position? Because that is going from dark to light.
Yeah. Man, I mean, COVID on its own, we could probably sit on like a 3-hour phone call and just, unpack, but we won't. Um, so my dad passed away in 2020, and I felt like when he passed, it brought this weird level of clarity for me. We didn't have a great relationship. He was an alcoholic and he was abusive, and he had a really hard life and, kind of projected that onto his kids and in his marriage. So we weren't close when he started to decline in his health, which, I mean, he passed away from cirrhosis of the liver. So y'all calm down on your tequila because this is where it leads. And so I remember just being like, okay, I'm an adult and I've learned a lot and I've healed, in my own right, just through, therapy and just getting myself out there, being in a really wonderful and healthy relationship myself with my spouse. So it was like, okay, I'm going to just apologize for the ill that I've done. And I just want to build this wonderful relationship with my dad for the time he has left. And this was just, I mean, maybe 2016 or 2017. And so I really just tried to connect with him. He loves music. And so, I mean, a lot of it was like he would support through music and we would, send music back and forth. And it was just a lot of that. And so when he started to get visibly very sick, I started to recognize like, okay, so his time's running out and I want to make the best of it. So, I mean, we just did what we can in our relationship. And I felt so at peace when he passed away. It was June of 2020. We couldn't even really hold like a normal funeral for him because it was sort of in the early stages of COVID and everything was still shut down. But a part of me felt like a deep breath. Okay, now that that season of my life has come to a close and that chapter has come to a close, I feel like now I can sort of tackle all of this stuff within me that is both hereditary and chronic and all the things that,
Yes.
pass down. Now it's time to like really internally look into that and fix it. And so this album was truly this conglomerate of I'm going to look at fear and anxiety and I'm just going to tell it to go where the sun don't shine. I am going to just like put one foot in front of the other. I'm not going to focus on the things that are tearing me down. I'm not going to focus on the addiction that runs in my family. I'm not going to focus on, the depression and honestly, like just straight up depression. Like that was such a thing for him. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to acknowledge that it's there, but I'm not going to dwell on it. And so a lot of it was just a lot of that. And then I have a couple songs in there that one of them is actually about suicide. The song Trust Fall. It's literally about a dream that I had about this girl trying to take her own life. And I thought I was writing the song for someone else. Turns out I went through a very deep depressive state, shortly after that song was written. And I was like, oh my God, I'm the girl. Like it was so real. And then Listen was actually written. Oh yeah, it was written for me, but it was written for a friend whose husband had left her on Christmas Day, just a couple of years ago, and it was the saddest, most betraying thing that I'd ever really witnessed, like as a friend. And so I decided like the only way that I'm going to be able to process this is just to write a song about it. And so I did. The song Listen came from that, but it also speaks to grief in like losing someone either through death or through betrayal. And so yeah, that's kind of the whole album and summarized in the healing journey.
Thank you first for sharing that. Amazing, amazing. I'm curious, and it's funny. I've interviewed people of all different categories, but whenever I do this one, I always ask the same question: why Christian and gospel music? Where most people growing up don't think about they're going to do that. They think they're going to be a rock star, they're going to be a pop star, they're going to be a hip hop mogul.
Yeah.
Why this genre?
Well, to be honest, I also am one of those people that never really picked Christian or gospel as my genre. I write, I'm not a session writer. I tell people that. Like, I'm not a person, I mean, I will write for other artists. I will sort of hone in onto a setting and sort of try to channel this, like, published writer persona where I can kind of write for anything. But where I really thrive is writing from personal experience. And I can't not write about how God has been so good to me. And it really comes out in so many different facets of my creativity. There could be songs that aren't really explicitly about Jesus, or they don't have this really like gospel feel, or I should say lyrics, but there's a feeling, there's this undercurrent in them that feels very positive and uplifting. And let's be honest with each other right now. Like, there is a lot of really sad, really dark, really depressive music that is making its way through the waves of the air right now. And I am not opposed to all the music that's out there, but I just wanted to be something different. And if it means that my audience is smaller, and if it means that I'm not doing stadium world tours, I'm okay with that. I want my kids, I have two girls, I want them to be I want them to see me as an example. I want them to listen to my music and like feel really encouraged. And so I guess to sort of answer your question, I don't know if I would really choose Christian or gospel, and I don't think I ever did. I think it was the most obvious step for all of the wonderful things, like I said, that God's done for me and my healing journey. I mean, I owe it all to him. I've done the work, but he has directed my steps and guided the way for me to be able to do that. And I have some new stuff coming out that, like I kind of mentioned, it's not so Christianese that people are like, okay, yes, a Christian song, K-Love Radio, they're very chill. They're very much kind of riding the line of sort of mainstream, sort of maybe Christian, but it's not so direct. And I really, really feel pulled in that direction in this season, because I want as many people as there can be to just feel like this little glimmer of hope from music. And I hope it comes from my music. So yeah, I don't know if that really answered your question. I kind
It
of did a
does.
little
It
bit, but
it absolutely does. Now you mentioned about your two little princesses, if I can call them that.
yes.
Um, how do they feel about you being a Juno nominee? And I hope that they are bragging up and down at school about it.
And at school is perfect. I'm so happy you said that. They are they are stoked. I don't think they really understand, and sometimes I don't think I do either, but it's such a cool experience for them. One of my favorite things ever is, well, it's a nightmare, but I don't love like listening to my own voice, but the coolest thing, they're so proud of me. I not that long ago, maybe just a couple months ago, was picking them up from school, and one of my girls, I don't remember who did it first, I think it might have been my older one, had asked her teacher if she could play my YouTube channel in class while they were doing like a body break or something, and they were all just dancing around. I think it was my song Egypt maybe, or something like that, and I was like mortified. I was like, Mila, no. And of course my younger one caught wind of this and was like, I'm gonna do it too. So the next day, like, I go to pick her up from her door, and her teacher's like, just letting you know, we did play some of your music during our body break today. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's honestly mortifying, but I want them to know that it's okay to like be proud of the things that you've done. So although I am like deep down very, very mortified, I was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, that means the world to me. Because I mean, if someone else's kid did that, I would be honored. you know, it's
It's
just
great
I
memories.
see these kids that pick up every day, so I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it's great memories. Okay, Vancouver is the destination. That's where it's all happening. What are the preparations? Is the hubby and the kids coming with you? Are you going alone? If they're going, are they going to be walking the red carpet? They be there with you at the dinner? Because folks don't realize your category comes up on the Saturday dinner, and
Yes.
they can watch it on CBC, CBC Gem, the YouTube channel. I do believe they can watch it all over there. What is going to happen?
Well, if you, I'm assuming you did watch that video of the me getting the nomination, but my
Yeah.
mom, top of the video, she's like, "Oh my gosh, how high are my heels? What am I wearing?" So naturally, she had to come. So
Mhm.
it's me, my mom, and my husband. We are gonna go, and my PR agent is gonna meet us there as well. We're gonna go and have a great time. I'm also bringing a couple friends here from Lloydminster represent. They are gonna do content, and then it just so happens they're a husband and wife, like power couple. So he's my videographer who does all my stuff, and his wife does my hair and makeup. So we are gonna have a great time. I may or may not know what I'm wearing yet. That's between me and God. I have not figured it out. But it's fine. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna show up and it's gonna be fine. Uh,
And remember something too. If somehow your luggage gets lost,
oh,
if it happens, Winners Marshalls, the best backup for emergencies. And trust me, I've been doing the Junos forever. I've seen where artists this has happened, and
yeah.
everybody runs to a winner. And Vancouver's got winners all over the place. So just put in your head, if it happens, that's where you can go.
Which is funny because I feel like I never find anything at Winners ever. So maybe it'll come in clutch when I need it to. So good to know. Mental note here. We're Winners and Marshalls. We got this.
Fantastic. As before we go, the rest of 2025, win or lose. You mentioned about new music you're working on or coming out. What else is happening?
So much. We've got, I have 22 songs lined up this year. Oh my God. First one comes out this Friday. And so I'm super excited about it. Very synth pop, very nostalgic, the most fun I've ever had recording a project. So that will be amazing. And then I have four more singles, and then I have 20, or sorry, I have 17 sad pop covers. So I had done just a self-produced sad pop, just covers of like nostalgic worship songs from the 90s and 2000s, and released them on Instagram last year. They went viral. And so I was like, okay, it's time to put those puppies out. So doing all of that and then planning a tour. So that is wild and fun and chaotic and all the things while being a mom and owning a business. So yeah, never ends over here.
Congratulations. Have the best time ever. And I know, you got to always keep it humble, but I hope your kids brag the heck out of all of this because I want them to have the best time with this too. Have a great time in Vancouver.
Thank you so much, Rudy. It was great to chat with you.